There are people that do videos for YouTube or Facebook, but how many do you know that stand out in a thunderstorm at 3 in the morning and do one? You got to be a special kind of stupid to do that, right? that would be me tonight. There was a tremendous thunder, lightning. I just knew it hit a tree. I'm looking for trees on fire. God, 66 years old, and I've never heard such a tremendous thunderclap, and it was just over and over and over again. It was the longest, like multiple lightning strikes within like 6 or 7 seconds. But it's not raining near as hard now. How it's barely sprinkling, or I wouldn't be out here. And yeah, well, now the lightning, it's not in my yard, it's in the neighbor's yard, so I'm outside here. No, it's the evening after Father's Day, 2026. And before the lightning strike, I was thinking about myself and life. I do a lot of thinking about life. You tend to do a lot more contemplation and review of your life and trying to make sense of some things that never really made sense. But I've come to the conclusion that I was blessed with some wisdom, even as a young man. And that is that I always listened to old people. You know, in the Bible, Solomon was like the richest, he was the richest, but he was the wisest man that ever lived. Ultimately, I think like the richest too. Elon Musk has now usurped that position, but you get the idea at the time. And so I took that to heart, and I thought, okay, who has the most wisdom? It's life experience. I always would try and gravitate toward people that I perceived as smarter than me. Didn't mean that they necessarily had an advanced degree. If they were smarter at me in a certain something, I would listen intently, because I love to learn, and I like to think of myself as smart. So I've always listened to people that I perceived as smarter. And even when I was a young man, I would listen to old folks because they had wisdom, they had life experience. And I tried to remember the things that were wise that they told me, so that I could build on that and let it snowball. And then by the time I was old, I'd really be smart. I'd really be wise. Well, here I am. I'm older now. All those old folks that I'm referring to are gone. Yeah, I'm 66 now, and shoot, that was 30, 40, 50 years ago. So, it also helped me, even with older family members. I would listen to their stories, and I need to sit down and do some recordings just for my own kids of stories that the old folks told me. Otherwise, those thoughts and experiences are going to be gone forever if I don't put them on a video or write them down in some interesting fashion. Because when you're young, you don't care. When you're a kid, you don't care. And then when you're a young man or young woman, you're just trying to get your life started. And then you enter the stresses of living day to day, and pretty soon, when you're older and you can kind of contemplate, and think about the past, you think to yourself, I wish I'd asked great-grandpa about that, or I wish I'd asked Uncle Tom about that, or wish I'd asked Grandpa about that, but I never did. I didn't think about it back then. And now those questions can't be answered. I'm just kind of waiting out here to get struck by lightning. Well, won't that be a cool video? Now, there's something my kids and grandkids will watch. Come here, Sonny. Here's your grandpa getting struck by lightning doing a silly video on his phone. But I'm leading up to something here. It's the night of Father's Day night, and now it's, of course, early Monday morning. By the way, it's my daughter's 18th birthday. And she was actually born about quarter to midnight, 20 to midnight, something like that tonight. But calendar-wise, my daughter is 18. Got her graduated from high school, got her driver's license, and now she's 18. But I was thinking about this being the end of Father's Day, And a lot of people put pictures of their dad up, or you know, they on Facebook, or they call their dad or whatever, you know. And I was thinking about an older lady that I listened to when I was a young man. I don't know if I was already doing patient care at that point in my late 20s, or if it was, I don't remember, but I was in my 20s. And this one lady said, she said, I could never give up Christmas and Mother's Day, because if those holidays, if those days did not exist, I would never hear from my children. Those are the only 2 days out of the entire year that my children think of me. On my birthday, well, I said Christmas, it was Mother's Day and her birthday, Mother's Day and her birthday. She said they wouldn't call me at all. They wouldn't call me at all. They wouldn't think of me at all. So I guess the wisdom here, oh, by the way, the other thing that the old folks would tell me is, don't ever get old. Well, don't ever get old. And I always would ask them, well, how can I keep that from happening other than dying? Well, I don't guess you can, but just don't get old. I heard that so many times. In the hospital, especially, and working with the seniors and my patients and stuff, they'd all tell me that. Because even at 28, 29, 30 years old, they thought I was young. Of course, it is young now that I'm 66 looking back on it. But you know, I think you caught the point, though. And that is that, you know, someone arbitrarily chose this day that we've just finished up here as Father's Day. They choose a day for Mother's Day. And then there's some social pressure, or sometimes economic reminders at least, you know, to do something. You're manipulated, especially if the commercial world can make money off of you. You are manipulated mentally to go ahead and feel compelled to check on the old man, or to check on grandma, or, you know, whatever. Guys, here's the moral of the story. If you know me very well, you're way ahead of me. Don't wait for Mother's Day to call Mom. Don't wait for Father's Day to call your dad. Call them frequently, regularly, and listen to them respectfully. You know, there's a scripture that talks about not just obeying your parents, but also to honor them. That's part of honoring them. I think today, a lot of parents can expect calls from their kids because it's Father's Day or Mother's Day. But if the outside, whoever those people were that established that day as Mother's Day or Father's Day, they wouldn't hear from them at all. It just takes the meaning out of it. Call them if you miss them, if you love them, and even if they're telling you a story that you've already heard 3 or 4 times. I'm entering into that stage of life. I'm telling a story and I see my kids roll their eyes like, I've already heard this, Dad. But I'm going to tell it differently this time. It's going to be so much more interesting. And then I'm a little embarrassed because I realize I had told them that story. It's only going to get worse as I get older. They should be glad I'm alive, right? Nah, they don't care. You know, they do, but they don't. So if you're younger, as in younger than me, you know, young enough where you still have your parents, your grandparents, call them and listen. I don't think there's any reason why you can't call your dad or whatever, your grandma or your mom, every week. And if you're just that busy that you can't call for 20 minutes once a week, then number one, your priorities are screwed up. But even if you legitimately can't do it every week, how about every 2 weeks? Hey, how about every month? Now you wait till Father's Day, you wait till their birthday or whatever, and you feel compelled to do it, well, because there's some social pressure or media reminders, so you do it, so you can check it off your checklist. I was thinking about that tonight as I thought about the little old people, the little old lady in particular that told me, if it weren't for Mother's Day or my birthday, I would never hear from my kids. Isn't that sad? So there's some words of wisdom from Steve. And while I've been out here, it's been sprinkling on me. You hear the thunder, at least I hope you hear that thunder, and hear the lightning behind me. It's been such a wonderfully cool and beautiful spring here on this Ozark Hill this year, 2026. I just love living out here with all the animals, the armadillos, a lot of armadillos. I got a groundhog over there living under my shed. I've got lots of raccoons and possums that come out if the cats don't eat all the cat food. They're out here. They like the leftovers. You know, it's been a couple of years since we've heard any bobcats. The one year I heard a mountain lion. I think I saw one up in that tree over there. And then the neighbor, two neighbors, one down that side of the mountain and one down this side of the mountain, that told me about a juvenile bear into their trash cans. So we've had bears up here. It's kind of exciting, huh? But anyway, I love living up here. It's been a beautiful spring. Of course, now June 21st, Father's Day this year, was the first day of summer. Oh, there's some nice lightning. Didn't hit me though. Haha, you missed me. Well, I guess that's all I have to say. So call your mom, call your dad, call grandma and grandpa. Heck, call your brother and sister if they'll take your call. Mine won't, but yeah, I'd love to have that kind of communication. Life is fleeting. Soon life is over. And soon you too will be in your mid-60s like me, and thinking about all the things that you did and didn't do in your lifetime. How about that? All right, I'm not going to get struck by lightning. I guess I'll God, beautiful night. I guess I'll go in before the water messes up my phone. No, wow. Can you hear that? I'll have to go back and listen to this video. I hope you can hear that. Because God, Lord knows you've never heard thunder before, right? Well, one thing's for sure. You've never seen a senior citizen stand out in a lightning storm in the rain and make a video at 3 a.m. in the morning. That's got to be a first. Good night.